Are you guys ready to work on our book page pumpkin? Who's ready? You ready to work on the book page pumpkin? Okay, and like I said, I'll continue to talk about a year to remember. That's what we're calling it. And you'll hear more from me about this over the next couple weeks or so. But if you're interested at all, just click that link. You can, or just save it, copy it, save it in your browser or something. And we'll be posting about it after the live today also. And then you can just go over and kind of read about it and decide what if you think it might be good for you. Okay. All right, awesome. Thank you guys. Okay, let's talk about the book page pumpkin. You guys ready to talk about it? All right, I'm going to pop it up on the screen here. This little pumpkin has created a stir. And this pumpkin, you guys, just so you know, this pumpkin, I made this probably, oh my gosh, it might be 6 or 7 years old. Like it's been around. I pull it out every year with my decorations. It has held up beautifully. I mean, you know how sometimes your projects over the years will start to, you know, they just don't look as good as when you first made them. This one still looks beautiful. It looks beautiful every single time, every single season when I bring it out. And so I have had a lot of requests to show you how to make these. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to come in here and make our book page pumpkin. So how many of you have seen this before or made one of these before? I know we all probably have our own ways of making them, but I'm going to show you my way. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pop that off. And I want to talk to you about the books. Okay, so these book page pumpkins could be made with any book, really. I mean, really any kind of book. I usually use old Reader's Digest books because I just find them a lot, like at secondhand bookstores or thrift stores, resale shops, and they're usually very inexpensive. And I always try to find some that have pretty covers. Okay, I try to find some that have pretty covers because we're going to take the cover off for the pumpkin, but then I like to make things from the covers. So that would be a whole nother project. So if you do have a pretty cover on your Reader's Digest book, and they come in different sizes. I just want to show you, like this is probably the traditional size Reader's Digest book. And then this one is like a smaller book. And probably I'm going to do the smaller book today because it won't take as much time. Okay, so, but again, I love the covers. The covers are always so pretty and decorative. So, yeah, I save the covers for other projects. How can I let these covers go to waste? No, absolutely not. I will not let those go to waste. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let me just tell you that the pumpkin, this particular pumpkin was actually made with one that was like this, the thicker version here. Okay, but again, you can create these in any shape. Your book might be taller, your book might be shorter, your book might be wider. All of those things. And I'm sorry, I just got a text from my son that I need to answer. My apologies. 1 minute. He's at home with my dad right now, and the nurse is there, and they're asking a question. So give me just 1 second to answer this. I'm sorry. Again, navigating all these new waters. Let's see, 9/12. It was 3.3. That was the last time. Okay. Sorry about that. I know. Of course, she would be there right during our live right now. Okay. Back to pumpkins. Back to pumpkins. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just use this one. All right. This smaller one today. But again, you want different shapes and sizes of pumpkins, you'll use a different shape and size of book. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pop that one down there. So the first thing we're going to do, and by the way, I'm going to go ahead and y'all are so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, this is all new territory now that he's here with us. And yeah, so, okay. Thank you guys. Y'all are so sweet to me. Okay, so I'm going to I just want to show, there we go. This is what I want you to see. I just want you to be able to see more of my table space here. And let me bring the camera down just a little bit. Okay, so here is the book that I'm going to use today to show you how to make this. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the cover. So I'm going to show you that all books that have a spine, they have like a little hole, kind of like a little hole right here. I think you can see that where my fingernail is right there. So I'm going to take, if you have like a craft knife, a box cutter, you know, whatever kind of craft knife, you know, something that you have, if you have something kind of like this, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of slice through this part of the paper and just come down. We just want to take off the cover, and I want to be careful not to damage the cover because, like I said, I make other things out of the covers. So do you see, just by slicing through that one paper there, now sometimes there's going to be some glue right here, so you may have to kind of give it a tug if there's a little bit of glue. Can you see that? And so now I'm going to come over on this side. And I'm going to do the same thing. So again, just be careful not to, again, I don't want to damage the cover. So it's almost like you're just kind of scoring along there. And then I can come, let me go back. I got to do one more pass here. A little bit of glue there. There we go. So I'm removing the cover. I love these. I have done lots of different things with covers of books. So now that I'm showing you how to do the book page pumpkin, I'll have to come back and show you some things to do with your book covers. Okay. And you can see it's in great shape. It's all together. Perfect shape. Great little surface to repurpose. Okay. So now we have our book here. Okay. So sometimes you're going to see there might be a little bit of paper coming across here. You can just kind of pull off anything that's, this will be kind of in the inside of the pumpkin, so it's really not going to be a problem. And then the other thing I like to do is I like to kind of take the book about in half and just kind of give it a fold, right? And don't worry, sometimes pages will kind of fall off in the front. Trust me, there's plenty of pages to this book, but I just want to get the book used to being kind of folded back. You know, usually there was a spine there to keep that from happening. So I'm just kind of working it to get it to want to fold back. Okay. Are we good? Yes, there's so many things we can do with the book covers. It's so fun. Okay, so let me put away my craft knives here. And I'm going to grab you could do a marker, a pen, a pencil, just something. And we're going to draw a pumpkin type shape here on the front cover of our book. Okay. Now, I don't have a template for you because all books are different sizes, right? All books are different sizes, so I don't really have a template. We're going to kind of come in here. Okay, and then just kind of come around. You're just doing kind of a somewhat of a pumpkin shape. And then I kind of like for it to be a little bit flat right here because that's going to help the book page pumpkin to sit flatly, right? To sit flat. And then this kind of gets sunk down in because eventually we'll put something here for a stem. Okay, so now that I have my shape worked out, I'm gonna hold on to, I don't know how many pieces here. Let me make sure I have my scissors over here. Okay, let me grab my scissors. I have some small scissors over here, but I'm going to go ahead and use some big scissors here. So I'm going to grab several pages at a time. All right. And we'll start here and we're just going to follow our outline here. Now, some people do this with a craft knife, but it was hard for me to do with a craft knife. So I just cut them. And as you get down to in this little part, if you need to use just like a shorter shank scissors, that's okay. All right, and then we can just kind of tear that part off. So now we did those. Now I'm gonna just go in and trace again, right? Tracing again, and I'm gonna pick up several more pages, and I'm just gonna keep doing this until everything's cut out. I think it's so much easier again because craft knives, it can be kind of hard sometimes cutting through everything and, you know, not winding up being a real jagged cut. And you don't really have to be perfect with this process either. So just want to make sure it's definitely the type of project that I would just kind of, how can I say this lovingly? Park your OCD at the door. Okay. All right. So now I'm closing it back up again. Making my line. Grabbing more book pages. I'll just go ahead and use my shorter ones here. You don't even really have to trace again because you could just leave one of the pages, you know, down and just cut around that. And then just every time, just keep pulling those extra pages off. And we definitely want to make sure that you have kind of a flat bottom. Okay, so again, you can either just trace or just cut along. Oh, I did a horrible job tracing this one. And just cut as many pages as you feel comfortable. You don't want to hurt your hand or your wrist as you're cutting. Really easy to do. Yvonne says she's learned to park her OCD since being a member. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, is it really worth, you know, I mean, we craft and we create to de-stress, right? Not to add stress. So I think sometimes we just put a little too much pressure on ourselves. All right, so I'm almost through here. And I'm not really worried about the black line. I just wanted you to be able to see it well. We'll be kind of gluing some of these pages together. And that'll be our next step. So while I'm cutting these, how many of you are excited for fall? Oh, I'm so excited. I'm ready. You know, I live in Texas and I'm just ready for a break from the heat. It'll probably still be hot here for a while longer, but you know, I always tease myself and think, well, if I put out some fall decorations, maybe it will just start to feel like fall, right? Maybe that will help bring fall. I am so ready for fall. I love the changes of the seasons. And why don't y'all tell me in the chat, like, have you started making any craft projects for fall? Is anybody crafting? I know in all of my groups, in like the Napkin Club and the Fabric Fan Club, we're working on fall projects. And we started our fall series in the Faith Journaling group, and that's going so good. Enjoying that. And then we've been working on some fun, we're calling it Right Here, Right Now layouts in the Page Builders Clubhouse, and they've been really super fun. I was just at the grocery store yesterday and saw that pumpkins were already out. So that's also was fun. That also gets me excited for fall. Yeah. Lots of napkin projects, Belinda. I know some of you guys live where you actually get a true fall. Fall in Texas is it's not like what some of you get, and I'm very jealous sometimes when I see what some of you get for fall. But you know, we'll take whatever we can get. You know, I forgot to mention this, but for some of you that like, if you don't really have any extra old books or just, you know, don't want to spend too much money or whatever, you might even look at the dollar store and see what kind of books are there that maybe you can find something at the dollar store that you could turn into a book page pumpkin. And like I said, nothing has to be super, you know, right on the money. It's okay if a little bit of your line shows. The thicker the book, the more pages you have to cut out, but the pages, the pumpkins really look pretty. So I think if you're going to make more than one, I would definitely try to find, you know, a couple of books that are different sizes, just because that'll be an interesting set for your pumpkins. All right, I think I have two more. I think after I do this one, I think I think I can cut through the rest on its own, and then we'll start the next step. Oh, that's funny. This particular story in this book is titled November. That's fitting. Can I cut through all that? I think maybe. We'll try. Okay, so I want you to see at the end, I just cut off that little piece right there. So now we can kind of come in and clean this up a little bit. So you can see that I kind of started drifting here a little bit. So now it's just a good time to just come in. I might have to use a craft knife for this, but oh no, I didn't have to. Okay, so I'm just kind of cutting this inward just a little bit more. Okay, I don't want you to worry about these last two pumpkin pages meeting up exactly. Okay, we'll fix that. We'll kind of fix that at the end. Okay, so if you do that and you realize, oh, they don't quite meet up, I just don't want you to worry about it. Okay, we'll fix that at the end. Okay, next step. A couple different ways we could do this. We're going to glue some of the pages together. Okay, we're going to glue some of the pages together. And that just gives our, you can see how floppy, right? This is really floppy. So by gluing some of the pages together, it gives us some stability for our pumpkin. Okay, now how do we do this? Well, you could, if you wanted to just use like a craft glue, you could use a craft glue. If you wanted to use like a Mod Podge, you could use a Mod Podge. Today, I'm just going to use my glue gun. Okay, I'm just going to use my hot glue gun, and just be prepared if you're using your hot glue gun to have plenty of glue sticks. Okay, so we're going to just start out with, and I don't know how many pages. I'm going to let you guys decide. I don't know that I really count them out. I'll count these because I know some of you will want to know. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me feel how that feels. 8, 9, 10. I think I'm going to do 10. Okay, so I'm going to do 10 of these together. And this is, like I said, this is quite simple. I'm just going to very quickly, this is a brand new glue gun. Okay, very quickly, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. All right, doesn't have to be everywhere, doesn't have to be perfect. Just 3, 4, 5. We're just kind of layering these together. Okay, that was 5. Let me get another glue stick in here. 6. 7. 8. 9. Oh, that feels pretty thick. Okay, I'm going to actually tell you to do 8 or 9. 10 almost feels like it might be too much. Okay, so can you see how that we just glued those together? Now it's going to be more stable, okay, rather than just having the floppy pages. Okay, so how many pages are in this book? I think I cut off the page numbers, so I don't know. And now I'm going to move on to the next one. So again, just quickly. 2. Actually, that's easier. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it's just going to lift up. All right, there's those 8 pages. All right, so now we're going to do the next 8. Like I said, it's very repetitious, right? All the tracing, cutting. I'm going to stop counting and just kind of like just feel of it. When it starts to feel about the thickness of the others. Yeah, I need a little bit more. But if you want to count, you can count. Okay. Ooh, look at that pretty fall image. Probably should have looked through here and tore out some of the pages that had pretty images. Okay, this feels pretty good. Okay, this must have been stuck. Oh, how did I do that? Oh, okay, I see. I just had a page that wasn't, I must have picked up 2 pages instead of 1. Okay. Yeah, so if you accidentally pick up 2 pages, you'll realize it, and then you'll just glue it back in. So I'm not really thinking. This isn't a project you have to really think. We'll trim things up here at the end. And then I also like to ink the edges. How many of y'all have like ink in your stash? I like to use chalk inks for anything that's paper. And probably I think the best colors to use would be like anything fall, browns, oranges, rusty reds, you know. I want to show y'all a quick little tip here about my glue gun. Okay. So how many of you put in a glue stick into your glue gun and you start using it and it keeps flopping back out? That ever happened to you? So watch what I do. I just put a tiny little drop, one little drop of hot glue on the end of my glue stick. And then I stick it in so it sticks to the glue stick in front of it so it doesn't flop out. And it works wonderfully. All right, let's see how we're feeling here. Okay, that actually feels pretty good. So again, they don't even have to be all the exact same number of pages. I just kind of give it a feel, but I would say probably around 8-ish. How many of y'all, like back in the day, like way back when, I still remember making these when I was a kid, did the book page Christmas trees. Do you remember those? But we didn't cut them, we folded them. Do you remember that? I remember my mom and my grandmother and we made some of those book Christmas trees. Gosh, that was forever ago. It was fun. But that's a fun one. And that one you don't even have to cut, you're just folding. You take off the spine of the book and you're just folding them. Maybe we need to bring that back. You're building up your chalk ink collection. Yeah. And if you don't have chalk inks, it's fine. You could use whatever kind of brown, you know, whatever kind of fall color, browns, oranges, whatever kind of colors that you have in your stash. And I really like texture. I'm a texture person. That's why I don't really get hung up on like cutting them exactly right and lining them up exactly right. I love the texture that you kind of get on all the pages here. So I love how that looks. All right, that feels good. All right, those all feel pretty good. I'm just going to keep on keeping on here. All right. Who's going to make one? Yeah, the Reader's Digest trees. Exactly. I think we used the same exact books, Reader's Digest trees, or Reader's Digest books back then. So don't ever pass up Reader's Digest books. If you find them at half-price books or I honestly, I don't get them there often. I find them at thrift stores and just places, you know, like that, market days. But it doesn't have to just be these books. I just love these books because I love the decorative covers. They're all so unique and so different. I'm going to add one more to this one. So much faster with your hot glue gun. And well, I guess glue would be okay too, but you just have to wait a little bit for everything to dry. Mod Podge, you'd have to wait a little bit. So I like making these with my glue gun. And like I said, my other pumpkin, the other pumpkins that I've made like this are I mean, they've held up through the years. So I guess eventually they'll start to get brittle, just like any old paper, you know, thing would, but they've held up well. Your daughter goes to the library book sales. Oh, cool. Cool. Another thing that's good to find are like, I mean, honestly, for these pumpkins, it doesn't even have to be a hardback, right? Let me do my little trick again here. It doesn't even have to be a hardback. I mean, it could be a paperback. I don't think it really matters. I kind of like the aged look of the pages too. All right, I'm gonna start a new section here. So I hope y'all are excited to make these. I hope you'll make them. I'm able to give you a fun craft to work on this weekend if you want to. All right, and again, I'm just kind of feeling. They don't all have to be this exact same thickness. It's just, to me, it's just a little easier than counting everything. Okay, so far so good here. Oh, Jan, if you missed the beginning, don't worry. You can go back and watch the replay as soon as this is over. It'll be right here on my page. And the replay will also be over in the Create and Connect with Miss Tracy Facebook group. Have you guys joined that group? Did y'all know we have a public Facebook group? So anyone that follows me, if you want to go over there, it's a great group. It's a fun crafting community. So it's a great place because then you can share your pictures there of anything. Like if I show you how to make something in Craft and Chat or anything you're crafting, really, it's a fun place to go in and post your work, ask questions, hang out with other crafters that follow me, follow my Facebook page or my YouTube channel. Pinterest, Instagram, all the places. I'm in all the places. And we are almost done with this step. All right, that feels pretty. Maybe one more. Main thing I can tell you about the pumpkin, when I first made these, I didn't make my bottom flat right here. And I realized really quickly that it's really helpful to have that bottom part be flat because your pumpkin will sit better. You know, it's going to sit better and more level. So having that little flat part right there is really helpful. All right, let me get another glue stick. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this as fast as I can for you guys. I don't want you to get bored sitting here watching me glue things. It's going to be a cute one. You know what, Susan, are you in there watching? I just realized I didn't grab a stem. Susan, if you're watching, would you pop in here for a minute? Okay, I'm back. I don't know what happened. We just lost connection for a second. So let me get my other camera back up here. Okay, there we go. I'm back. I don't know why that happened. All right, Susan just popped in and the screen went dark. What'd you do, Susan? There should be a wine cork, something in there. I'll use a wine cork for my stem today. She's in, did you know I have a whole little, it's like a little stand-up chest with all a bunch of drawers, and it's just got all kinds of little treasures in it. Yay.
But there's a wine cork, and then I saw
so
this
wine
stuff.
cork, could be a spool. Yeah, this kind of stuff will be good too. Fun. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know what? Why don't you pop over here real quick while I'm gluing these, and remind everybody to sign up for the $1 mystery makers. Come on in.
Oh yes. Hello.
I'll let her tell you about that.
Don't forget, we're having the mystery makers workshop.
It's to celebrate.
Yes, to celebrate the 100,000 followers on Miss Tracy's page.
It was just such a milestone. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. We've hit this many followers.
Right.
But
don't forget, it's $1.
Yeah, it's only $1. And we have a supply list we're going to tell you to bring. So once you sign up, I've been emailing everybody that signed up once a week. As it gets closer, I'll probably do it twice a week just to make sure that you all have your supply list. But it's the Mystery Makers Workshop. So
a mystery.
Yes, it is a mystery, but it is so cute. And it's functional. It's something that any crafter, any maker, regardless what you do, you can use this. It's going to be something cute for your craft room.
You need it.
Okay. They're getting tired of watching me just sit here and glue. So I was like, well, let's Susan. Susan's going to be on that broadcast with me on that live workshop. So we'll send you a live link to our online classroom. And then the supply list, that'll come via email. And we just sent it out this Wednesday. So I probably won't send it out again until next Wednesday. Actually, I don't know. If enough people sign up today, I might send it again over the weekend so you could start getting your supplies together. But yeah, it's a mystery. And we're going to do some prize giveaways during that workshop and all kinds of fun.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to go.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for getting the wine cork for me. All right. My pages are getting thinner, so I'm trying to go faster. Tiffany, you signed up. Awesome. Susan signed up. Awesome. Rhonda signed up. Pop back in here. Sorry. I don't know why that's happening. Whoops. We don't want that. I want this extra camera. Okay. If that happens again, I'll get on my hotspot, but I don't know why that keeps happening. Wendy signed up. Lori signed up. Yay. Okay. What happens if we signed up but can't watch? Sally, it's okay because you can use that same link to watch the replay. Okay. Yeah. It's a Friday night that will be live, but if you can't watch then, but you still want to take part, then yeah, that's all you have to do. All right. Let's see how things are looking here. Down to the end. You can kind of see what's going to happen, right? Okay, that one's done. Let's see. All right, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Okay. And then I'll look to see, as soon as I fan out the pages, I'll be able to see like if I, had picked up 2 pages at once, or I have a random single page somewhere. I could either tear it out or I can just glue it to one of the sections that it's closest to. Yeah, I'm excited about the mystery makers. I think we're going to have a lot of fun that night. All right, I think I need one more, and then I think I just have one more section to make. Now with this last section, okay, I'm down to like the last few papers, okay, in the book. So I'm going to actually take 1, 2, 3, I'm going to say like 4 or 5. Let's go ahead and do 5. I'm going to separate out 5 pages. And so I'm going to put my scissors here. I want you to leave out about 5 pages that we're going to call our connector pages. If the pages in your book are really thin, you can, obviously you can glue more pages together. And you might want to use more connector pages, but I mean, I don't know that pages can get much thinner than these. So 5 is going to be plenty. We're almost done. Okay, that feels pretty good. Yeah, I'm just using an old Reader's Digest book. I took the cover off of it. I'm very careful when I take the covers off because they're so pretty. I love the patterns on them. All right, we're almost there. Okay, so now I have them all done except for these last 5. Okay, so I'm going to stand up my book here, my pumpkin book. And this is where I was talking about how sometimes the pages, when you first start, they don't always quite meet up. So these 5 pages, my 5 little last remaining pages, I'm going to kind of line them. Let me see how I can show this best to you. All right, can you see that brown page? Right, that's the back page. And this page, you can see how they don't exactly line up. So this is where I will hold these 2 pages together. And then I'm going to come in. Sorry. I'm going to come in here and just kind of draw what I need to cut off. Okay, just kind of draw in there what I need to cut off. Let's see. I don't think I need, it doesn't look like I need to do anything at the bottom. And now I know what I need to cut away. And then if you want to do a little bit of this on your other little sections, you can, because it's just natural when you're tracing, things sometimes just get, a little bit off as you keep going through the pages. So I'm just kind of trimming that up in there. Okay. So now with these 5 little connector pages, we're going to actually connect these to this very first one. And that's just going to help. And we're going to be kind of folding and pressing around with this quite a bit. And eventually the pages will just go where you want them to go. Okay. Just kind of like that. All right. So these were my last 5 pages. Sorry, it gets a little awkward right here at the end. So now that I've kind of trimmed them up, I'm going to glue these pages together. And glue hairs, if you've got glue hairs going everywhere, I'll show you how to get rid of those here in just a second. So these are just the 5 pages, right? Those 5 connector pages. So our very first one needs to be really, really sturdy. And again, please don't worry if it's not exactly lined up. Let me grab another glue stick. Need to have plenty of glue sticks on hand for this project. That is for sure. All right, so there you can see where my spine is right here, right? So I'm going to put my hot glue right here. And this time I'm going to use extra hot glue on both and some even in the middle, right? Okay, and then I'm going to just line those up as best as I can and just really press down, okay? This is where the book kind of comes together. You'll see now on this side, I've got a little extra going on there. And no worries, I'm just going to come in and kind of trim along. Again, this is not a, this is a check your OCD at the door kind of project. Okay, so now we're all together. Now we've been kind of going back and forth with the book in several different directions. So I come in and I just kind of start kind of manhandling it really, because we've been pulling the book back different ways. So before I do too much of this, I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges of the papers. And you'll just start kind of fanning everything out. Okay, just kind of fanning everything out. Now, when we start decorating the top, okay, when we start decorating the top, we're going to kind of hold these out in a way that we need them to be, that will help them to stay in place. Okay, so I'll just kind of show it to you here. So don't worry. I mean, the book is just naturally, we're just going to teach it, right? We're going to teach it the way we want it to go. By just kind of every section, just kind of going back and forth, just through pulling it together this way, right? We'll just keep doing that. And then, like I said, when we decorate the top, that's going to help it stay fanned out the way we want it to be. Now, remember, this was a smaller book. Okay, so a smaller book, that just means we're going to have smaller sections, right? We're not going to have quite as many sections as we would have had if we had the thicker book, but I still think it's going to be really, really cute. Okay, you're looking at it kind of from the top, but when you see it on display, you'll be looking at it more so from the side. Okay. Yeah, woman handling. There you go. Woman handling. Okay, I like that. Okay, so ink. I'm going to grab some ink here. And again, whatever colors you want to come in and add. And I'm just going to do a few of these because this is something I can do after the fact. But I can just come in on each section. And I usually kind of do one section at a time from one side. Just really, you can be kind of messy with this. And then I'll turn the book the other way. And I'll go from the other side. So don't try to be perfect with this. We've got a lot of texture here. We're just adding some color. This is an orangey color, but use whatever inks you have. Browns, oranges, golds, any kind of fallish colors. If you have a little dauber, you can use a little dauber, or even I'm not on the screen, I'm sorry, or a makeup sponge. Even dry brushing some paint. Yeah, that would actually be very cute, just dry brushing some paint. So I kind of go one direction. And then I'll go the other direction. kind of the messier look, the better, in my opinion. Now I can come back this direction. Actually, you could probably do them even just both ways as you go. You see how messy I'm being? I'm being messy. Sometimes messy is fun. You can throw in some orange. You could come back in and throw in some browns. This pad is almost worn out. I've been using it quite a bit. And it's not like you're going to see much of this, but it is just, again, a nice kind of added look. Just kind of grabs the pages. All right, I'm almost through. And the last one here. Oh, I see what happened. My little thing came off here, so let me re-glue that. I lost a page. Okay. All right, so you can kind of see, again, just kind of adds a nice little look, right? So I'm going to take this screen. Well, I'll leave it on here for just another second. So the next thing I'm going to do is I need some ribbon. And I think I'm going to go with this pretty orange and some of this pretty burlap. So our bow can really help us to kind of keep the pages where we want them to be, and leaves and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to start with just a very simple bow here on the top. Let me see if I have my other scissors over here. I don't think I do. That's okay. So this ribbon happens to be wired. So I'm going to cut a little slit and then another little slit so that I get a little flag end here, kind of a slit down the center, and then from the corner to the top. I like having a couple of different ribbons. And then in your stash, if you have fall leaves, berries, acorns, you know, anything like that. And then let's see, do I have any twine on my table here? Twine, twine, twine. Let me grab some twine. Okay, I changed my mind. Instead of twine, I'm going to use some of this, kind of this crocheted lace. I think that'll look pretty with the book pages. Okay, so because this ribbon is wired, and this ribbon came from Hobby Lobby, by the way, this particular one. So I'm going to crisscross it, just like a tribute style ribbon. I'm going to take the top right here, kind of down. I want kind of bigger loops. And I'm just going to squeeze it together. So fastest way to make a bow. If you have a little clothespin, a lot of times I'll use a little clothespin here just to hold everything, just to hold it in place. We'll put this on top. And just tighten. I'm not going to tie it real tight until I take the clothespin off. There. Then we'll tie it nice and tight. And then let's make another bow out of this. Love that. I like that kind of crocheted lace look in here. I'll give a little slant edge cut on the ends. So this one will be my bow. And I'm going to come in here and just try my best to kind of, this might be helpful if you have a friend, a hubby, somebody, because what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to hold the edges all kind of fanned out. And I'm going to use the wine cork. I just think the wine cork will look kind of cool in here, but you know, all kinds of things could be your stem. We're going to use a big blob of hot glue. And even if it kind of runs a little bit down the middle of the pages, that's okay. Just trying to kind of hold these pages out. The book itself will relax. The book itself will relax. The pages will relax a little bit over time. It's just because we've been manipulating them. It had a spine this morning. Now it doesn't, you know, all those things. And just kind of hold things where we want them to go. Just want to get the, get this in here first. Hot glue and cork don't always work the best together, but if we can at least just get it in there so that we can kind of see here what it's going to look like. Now I'm going to come over here on this side, and again, lots more hot glue. And I'm going to put the bow down. So now once the bow is down, and I still have my little cork in here, and this, again, this ribbon is wired, so I'll be able to manipulate it. The more we add, the more stability it kind of gives to the cork stem. It could be a branch from your backyard. You could go in and clip some branches, you know, to have a branch stem. You could glue together cinnamon sticks. That would be really cute for a stem. Thread spools, you know, again, it's a repurpose project. So I think, you know, it gives you a lot of leeway, right? You could use whatever you want to for the stem. Oh, now do you see what's happening? So now the more that we add, the more that we start gluing on, even the leaves, all of that, it's going to help our pages to stay where we want them to stay. Okay. So yeah, don't worry too much about all the little tails and all the little things. I want to have some of this in here as well. But this time I'm just going to do kind of like a, well, essentially, I could do it like a bow again, but I'm going to do loops this time. Okay, just some added loops out of this. So let me scoot the pumpkin out of the way for a minute here. And let me just create some loops. I'm just going to hot glue some loops together. I think I'm going to do 3. I'll do 3 loops. And then I also have some fall leaves over here. Y'all having fun? I hope you're not bored watching this all come together. I'm on top of a drop cloth, so I can just glue it right on. If you have a craft mat or something. So I'm just, again, just kind of creating some loops. I think you guys are really going to enjoy making these, though. So I hope you'll give it a try. And I hope that you'll go check out A Year to Remember. Don't forget, right? We talked about that at the beginning. So I don't want you to forget about that. So now we have some loops, and then I also have some fall, just kind of faux fall leaves over here. Those two colors look really good together. We could even throw in a flower, right? If we wanted to throw in a flower. If you have any kind of like little, you know, natural looking or berry looking kind of stuff, you know, you could do that too. Acorns would be great as well. So I'm going to actually kind of do the loops and the leaves kind of at the same time. So I really like these two kind of on top of each other like this. So what I'm going to do first is go ahead and attach them together. I might need to make my screen big. Let me take myself small. There we go. Just want to be sure y'all can see this well. So let's go over here to this side. So again, this is the side where the book it's not naturally wanting to kind of spread out as much because this is where the spine originally was. So this is probably going to be a great spot for us to tuck in that flower. And I need another glue stick. Okay, so again, I'm going to kind of pull these pages forward somewhat. Let's pop in some more glue in here and get some glue on that cork too. And then let's stick in this flower. All right, it's just like a little mum. So everything we stick in is going to help our pages to kind of stay where we want them to stay. All right, does that make sense? Sweet. I need to hold this a little bit more. And now let's go ahead and tuck in a few leaves. Maybe these leaves are too big. All right, if the leaves are too big for your pumpkin, watch what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cut it down smaller. It's going to kind of go underneath this. It's going to go underneath this flower anyway. So it's okay to deconstruct them a little bit. All right, so it's this two right here. These are the main two that I want to kind of start with. Cute, 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 cute. So I'm going to put my hot glue on top of these two book sections, these two page sections, and I'm going to just tuck the leaves down underneath. So I'm just focusing on these two. These are the two that were kind of the closest ones to the spine. And having the leaves glued on to it, there we go. That's going to help these two pages stay closer together. Do you see these two right here? That's going to help those two pages stay closer together. So now let's move over here. And I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue again right up here. And I'm going to bring this over a little bit. And I'm hot gluing this part of the leaf to that section. Now it'd be a good place for a loop. So let's tuck in, sorry, I got to get underneath the flower here. Let's tuck in a loop right there. Just kind of bend those pages back. Let's tuck in another loop, maybe right here. So everything that you're gluing is helping the pages stay where you want them to stay. Actually, this loop might be a little big. Let's make it a little smaller. They don't all need to be the same size. Hold it in there. So do you see with everything I'm doing, just the pages are going to start, I can kind of move the pages to get them to stay exactly where I want them to stay. Just by adding in some hot glue. Let's add in an acorn. I'll find some acorns here. So I'm thinking that would be a good place for an acorn. But I want to get this ribbon held here. Okay, this one needs more glue. I can already tell. Perfect. I'm gluing myself to the project. All right. So now then, kind of on top of where these loops are, yeah, I think we should throw in an acorn. Acorns can go in any which way that we want. So really, your struggle is not going to be with the whole entire book. It's mainly just the portions that are where the spine, you know, kind of the front of the book, the back of the book, where the spine is. So just that's why adding these leaves and ribbons are important, because then you can go in and just start kind of gluing things down to where it's going to hold your pages exactly in the, you know, arrangement that you want them. I'm going to use one of these flower petals right here to hold that one. Okay. And I didn't really fuss too much with my book. I probably could have fussed with it a little bit more, just spreading everything out. I want to add some more leaves. So let's see, there's that one. Let's see, let's try to use a color we didn't use already. Didn't really use this yellow. That's kind of too yellow for me. Let's see, what else do we have over here? It's just a bunch of faux leaves. Ooh, here's a, ooh, these are pretty. Look at those. I like those. Oh, I can just pop that off. That's really pretty. So this could be a spot. I love the lace added in here. Okay, that's a good spot. So again, hot glue, hot glue. And this will help these two pages to kind of go in between. Let's see how I want this to lay. Kind of like that. Cute. Maybe another one coming out. And again, this one's a little bit long, so I'm just going to cut it, make it a little shorter. And again, as you glue things in, just spread those pages out where you want them to be. Nice. You see kind of how that's all working out? I still need to do some work, right? I still need to do a little bit of work here and there. Let's throw in another acorn. But the more that I add, the better positioned my pumpkin is going to be. Okay, let me go back to this screen so that you can see. Do you see what I mean? How it's evening out my pages? Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just going around and around, even out those pages by just using a little bit of glue wherever I need it, right? You can also kind of fold them, curl them, you know, whatever you need to do to get them positioned exactly the way that you want them. Okay. And I can see this one's kind of curling this way. So you're just kind of, and like I said, the other thing is they do tend to relax. So you might even get to like this stage, right? You might get to this stage and you might just stop, let the pages kind of relax some, and then you can go back and continue to add in whatever you want. It could be like, look at this little burlap flower, so cute. Again, any kind of little berries or things like that. I think I have some little twisty burlap flowers in here too. Ooh, berries like this. I've got all kinds of odds and ends. Berries like this would be really cute. And berries are also a great thing to kind of help to push your pages apart, because they can kind of go down into the pumpkin itself. I like those there. Let's do that one there. So you just kind of keep messing with it. Let's see, I think I had it kind of right in here. Yeah, and berries usually you can kind of finagle them as well. So now, like this little berry right here, I can put just a little bit of glue on and go down to grab that page. And then this little berry can grab that page. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. All right. Do y'all see what I'm talking about? Here's a little small flower. I just, again, it's nice to have different sizes of different things, because it's great for just kind of your random fall whatevers. We're just kind of filling the top. Let me hold it up here on the camera so you can really see. Here, hang on. Let me make myself small again. Okay, see? So we can just kind of go around as however embellished you want the top of your pumpkin to be. And again, it is going to be helpful to embellish it because that's what's helping you to fan out your pages, right? So this is probably a good time to stop and let the pages just relax. Some of it is they just have to be getting used to being fanned out all the way like that, okay? And then let's just take a look from here. And do you see how the parts that I've glued, do you see how my pages are getting closer and closer together? Like here, right here's a gap. So I definitely need to glue something in here so that I don't have as big of a gap, right? And that could just be a little glue maybe under that orange ribbon, but that's what you're going to do. You're just going to keep going around and around, right? Until you just kind of get the gap, get the gaps kind of all even. And you're doing all of that by what you're adding to the top of your pumpkin. That's what's going to help you. Okay. Yeah. Tips and tricks from Miss Tracy. They will help you turn your projects from looking good or looking great to looking like, wow, amazing. Right. There's one more thing you can do. And I probably should just showed you this at the beginning, but I honestly just kind of forgot about it. I forgot that I did this because I've made these for so long. Some of it I just feel like I already know. My little pumpkin stem is in here. We could have inked the stem. If it's not tall enough for you, I mean, I can see it easily. You may not be able to see there it is. See the little wine cork in there. But the other thing you can do is I'm actually going to turn this upside down. Okay, so down here on the bottom, and let me switch my camera. Okay, down here on the bottom is also a great spot, and I've got glue hairs everywhere, but this is a good spot to go in. And even if you had like a little small bead, or I'm trying to think of just something small, you can actually glue something small in between each one of your pages to help them stay positioned out in the way that you want them to be. Okay. So by putting just a little bead, a little something in between each of the pages, that also helps them to stay fanned out in the way that you want them to be. Okay. So if you want to do that, that's a good thing that you could do right at the very beginning, before you have all this stuff on the top. But even if you don't do that step, that's just an extra step if you feel like you need it. If you don't feel like you need it, then I wouldn't even worry about it, because most of the time, everything you add up here on the top is going to help things stay fanned out. Let me go back over here. Yeah, so again, let's just kind of look at it. So by gluing these, now these pages are going to stay where we want them to stay. All right, you are the boss. I say this a lot. You're the boss of your bows, but you're also the boss of your book page pumpkin. Okay, so just by adding in little bits and pieces and then gluing, specifically gluing those leaves or those pieces, like I still have a gap back here. I need to work on this little section, and that's what I'll do. I'll just keep working, keep adding a little something here and there, and then these will all be kind of equidistant from each other. Okay, so and I think that's all you really need to see, because everything else I'd be showing you would just be the same thing I've already showed you. So I hope you love these. And by having that flat bottom, as you can see, they don't wobble. They don't wobble. That's why it's important when you draw that shape, right, on your book page, that you leave the bottom, you leave some of the bottom area flat. And that way they'll sit wherever you want them to sit. You can sit them on top of something. I like to layer things up. And again, the size and shape of your pumpkin is going to be dictated by the size and shape of your book. Okay, so let me bring up the other picture. I'm going to bring up the other picture really quick of the other book page pumpkin, because I do think it stands to warrant. I want you to see this. So this is the larger book that I did. The larger book didn't take near as much embellishment on the top, because you have a lot more pages, right? Little page sections. You have a lot more little page sections, because it was probably double the thickness of the book we used on this one that I did during Craft and Chat. Okay, so the more pages, the more full your pumpkin will be, and the less you have to kind of mess with the positioning the pages. So it's just I did the smaller book this time because I just didn't want us to have to keep you here for a whole day. Watch it, not a whole day, but taking up too much of your time. Okay, but I love these, and I hope that you love them too. And I hope you have fun making them. They really are super fun to make, and really they're not hard. They're repetitious. They take a little bit of time. You might feel that it's a little tedious, tracing the pages, cut out the pages in sections of paper with your good scissors. And yeah, it'll all be wonderful. Okay, it'll all be wonderful.